Other animals are more basic when it comes to things like emotions and interactions, but humans are a much bigger animal who deal with a lot of different feelings. Humans also have more complicated relationships with one another, so some people argue that it's hard to compare human emotions like love or anger with the same emotions in other creatures. Today's story is indeed related to bears, and it comes from Russia. One day in 2016, there was a small airport called Orlova in Pavliloy Gorodish, a small town in the Tver region. At dawn, a pilot of the Albatross Aviation Sports Club spotted an animal on the runway, which looked like a kitten or a puppy because of the dark light and the long distance. But when it came closer, it turned out to be a little brown bear that was born less than a month ago. Little Bear ran for a while, lying on the edge of the track, curled up, sniffing. No one knows where the little bear came from. They guessed that the nearby villagers handed the little bear to the hunter, but the little bear ran away. The pilot who picked up the bear was named Andrei Ivanov, and his hometown was in the Altai region. Andrei named the bear Manser. Andrei held Manser, and Manser licked Andrei's fingers. At the beginning, they were going to hand over the bear cubs to specialized agencies such as zoos, but Russian zoos may lack other animals, but bears. Then Andrei took Manser to the house of Barzhnovi, looking for biologists Valentin and Svetlana in the Tver region. In the past 20 years, the Barzhnovi house has helped more than 200 animal cubs to return to the forest, allowing them to return to the embrace of nature, so Andrei also wanted to ask them for help. But after they tried several times, they found that Manser didn't seem to be going back to nature at all. He seemed to prefer being with humans now. After that, Andrei called another organization. They said that Manser could be taken in, so they informed Andrei of the address. Andrei took Manser and gave them the bear. But a few weeks later, Andrei wanted to see how well Manser was. They told him that visits were not allowed, and he was now somewhere in Raimskoy. They also gave Andrei another phone call. They called and begged for a long time and promised to give some money. The other party told Andrei that Manser was not in Raimskoy, but was in Kaluga Place. This made Andrei faintly feel a little uneasy, and the more he thought about it, the more things went wrong. There is not a serious protected area, Andrei said in his heart. So Andrei quickly called Fidel Pashenkov. Come on, we have to save Manser and take your dog just in case. Fidel is the second person in charge of cubs besides Andrei. Andrea and his party of 4 drove 2 cars and went directly to Kaluga, where they found a local hunting expert, and he confirmed that a little bear had indeed been brought here. When Andrei and his party arrived there, it was not a protection station at all, but an old gas station. A short man asked Andrei, "What do you want?" "We want to get back to ours, bear." He short said, "Okay." Andrei shouted, "Manser." Then he heard the roar of the bear. Andrei hugged Manser to the seat of the car, first found a small pond where he bathed Manser and fed him food. Manser was obviously in a lot better condition. Andrei discussed with Fidel, the bear is safest only if he keeps it by himself, so he drove in the car and took Manser home, which was more than 500 kilometers away from Andrei and their station. Manser likes to ride in the car. He looked out the window quietly, but when he got to Moscow, traffic jams began. The cars and people made Manser nervous. Andrei had to distract Manser in various ways, give him a yogurt every 10 minutes so that he will be a little behaved, and finally return to Orlova after a hard journey. After that, Manser and Andrei lived together. In the bear's heart, Andrei was his family, and listening to the roar of the plane every day, Manser gradually got used to this sound and would not be afraid. It is important to feed Manser because it can keep the bear in a good mood. Andrei cooks 12 liters of porridge for Manser every day. In the summer, Manser eats buckwheat, rice, cheese, and eggs. But the taste of the bear is also changing. Sometimes he likes raw eggs, sometimes he likes cooked ones, and he likes fruits and vegetables, especially watermelon and grapes. In order to ensure the life of Manser, Andrei built a big iron cage for the bear, installed a sliding door, and covered it with hay to keep it warm. Together with many volunteers, I separated a large area with iron fences and built a swimming pool as an activity place for Manser. In order to better raise the cubs, Andrei also consulted professionals from circuses and animal rehabilitation centers. The circus said, "As long as you feed it well and don't hurt it, everything is okay." The rehabilitation center also said that Andre provided a very good environment for Mansour and suggested that Mansour should be more vegetarian, which is good for the body. Benefit. In this way, Mansour grew up day by day. It became more sensitive because of what happened when he was a child, so he only allowed Andre to approach him. It really regarded Andre as his father, and Andre also regarded Mansour as his father. Children treat it the same. Over time, Mansour and Andre's dog Huskar became good friends. The bear and Andre live together, which is much safer than living in the forest. There are hunters in the forest. While in captivity, regular medical care can be carried out, and the lifespan of animals is usually longer than in the forest. With age, Mansour's weight is also increasing, and Andre also wondered whether Mansour could return to live in the forest, but he has been around humans since he was a child, and Mansour may have lost his wild instinct. Mansour is now 5 years old. Even though his weight has reached 300 kilograms, in Andre's eyes, he is still a little baby that he first saw on the airport runway. It takes a lot of money to raise Mansour, and Andre is really thankful for the kind people who have donated both financially and with materials.